No, I
Three.
counted while I was doing it. Oh, one
No,
more time.
that's
1,
fine.
2, 3.
You can go off the regular way
Back
with another one.
with another
What's
one.
going on, y'all? Y'all like
No
a little
trouble,
hand clap.
son.
A little handshake.
Yeah, so because we had gotten so used to doing, we back with it. Now, you know, and you do
Time
that
to
after a
switch it
million
up.
videos, you ready to switch
wife,
it up.
for the cool handshake. Thank you, wife.
Yeah, that's the dap you get from a school teacher. Good grades. This our little thing we do.
Haters never win, y'all.
They do.
They never win. Okay, let's go.
All right.
What we got?
So I saw this, came up today. It said Thomas Sowell's advice for people voting in America.
I'm gonna start reading the titles. Okay.
It's madness.
Advice.
Let's go. I guess I do need my headphones.
Pick up the phone.
On the left side. Let's go. We're ready.
But you make a lot of sense here because you start talking about what's at stake for America in these times, and even down to
Plugged in.
Wait a minute.
the push that everyone should vote.
That's weird. Heard that?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Here because you start talking about what's at stake for America in these times, and even down to the push that everyone should vote. You say that is not necessarily a birthright. It's something that you should study up for. What did you mean by that?
That's right.
Well, I mean that elections are not held just for social participation. They're not held just to vent our emotions.
Right.
They're held to elect people who will hold our lives and the lives of our loved ones in their hands, as well as the fate of the entire nation.
Right.
And I think to go out as if we're voting for, for a homecoming queen or something,
That's right.
is madness. I advise in that column that people who really haven't had a chance to study these things and know much about it, that their most patriotic act would be to stay home on election day rather than vote on the basis of their whims or their emotions, which is really playing Russian roulette with the history of the country.
By that measure, I think it's safe to say that every MSNBC viewer should just stay home. But one thing is, an election is not a popularity contest.
Why you got Thomas holding them lips like Thomas? Like, I'm so ready for your next question. Look at Tom. He's so ready for that question.
If he's saying that that's what you're saying, then that must be what he's saying then.
Yeah.
Because why get out there but as most people do, you just vote what your neighbor voting for or your family has voted for in the past.
I voted for a Democrat president, so just vote everybody for Democrat.
And study,
right?
And really dig in and find out who these people are, what they vote for, and and what they stand for.
Exactly.
Their legislation, the laws, who's backing them. No, people don't look that up.
Yep.
Or an award for showmanship. If you want to fulfill your duty as a citizen, then you need to become an informed voter, to follow up on what you just said. And if you're not informed, then the best thing you could do on election day is stay home. Now, people will hear that and say, well, is that arrogant or what? Is that Jeffersonian or what?
There are worse things than being Jeffersonian.
Yeah.
No, it's not arrogant. If I don't find, there have been elections where I have stayed home, either because I didn't think I was up on the issues, or more often because I didn't think that there was enough difference between the candidates.
When did you stay home?
1972, when it was Nixon versus McGovern.
Why?
And I thought, oh my gosh, is the question, what kind of disaster you want?
Okay. Now, in this race, if you think about it in the type of personalities, and we've made it like a homecoming king type affair, that's really been going on really since John F. Kennedy, right? And that's since 1960, maybe longer for all I know. But what is it we do wrong? And when you see these debates and you see all these candidates up on a stage, they have to give a quick rejoinder, a quick zinger That's what we replay. That's what we focus on. What's the problem?
Well, the problem is that sound bites usually aren't very sound. You know, that there are very few serious issues that can be dealt with in 1 minute. And especially when they're simply sprung on you. If they'd given them the questions, 2 hours before they went on the air, then maybe they'd be able to condense it down to something that could be said in a minute or two. But when they simply spring a question on you with 1 minute to answer, what kind of answer can you expect?
That's very good. I always think, when I read you and all that, how would Lincoln have survived a debate format where they said, all right, Abe, in 30 seconds, tell us how you would settle this rift with the South, and then the buzzer would ring at 30 seconds. That's it. It is true. But what do we do about that? We live in a world of shortened attention spans and gadgets and all that other stuff. And how do we reverse that? Because the average political response and ad has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter.
Well, that may be why our policies have gotten worse and worse. There are a lot of things you could do. If you were serious, you'd have each one of the serious candidates interviews for, say, an hour by someone like, say, Brett Baer or who's the man on C-SPAN? I can't think of his name offhand.
I don't want to talk about you didn't include me in that, so I'm a little annoyed, but that's quite all right. But no, I see what you mean. To give them a lot of time, like a Charlie Rose thing where they take a long time.
That's right.
But the argument against that is that no one would be interested.
Well, if those who weren't interested didn't vote, I think you'd get a much better outcome from the elections.
Oh, that's interesting. Of the crop of candidates you see now, I had a former advisor to Ronald Reagan who was here saying none of them look like Reagan to him. He dismissed this idea that, first of all, they've all broken, I guess, this 11th commandment to speak ill of another Republican. But more, they didn't offer an optimistic view for the country. And that's the core of their problem. What do you think?
No, I think the core of the problem is Reagan, although he was quite good with his words, Reagan has spent years and years studying all these issues, writing about them, talking about them on the air. So by the time he got on television to run for the presidency, he really knew what these issues were, how they came out, and he didn't have to just carry on. He was quick, but he was not glib.
Do you think that candidates these days, knowing the reality, almost have to change in a campaign and then change if they get to office? Like, they just say whatever they can to get elected. Like Bill Clinton in 1992, a big middle-class tax cut, is, gets elected, I have to shelve that tax cut. It happens. It's human nature. And that maybe single terms would be the answer. If they had only one term, they could focus on that, make it 6 years instead of 4 years. What do you think?
I have been an advocate for the longest time. My only objection to people who are for term limits is the S at the end of the word limit. It should be one term, because if they have 3 terms, then the first 2 are going to be spent trying to get reelected. And so we have to wait for the 3rd term. And in the 3rd term, they may be trying to set a record to go on to some other position. So one-term people would be I think, ideal.
Ooh. Wow.
I love listening to him, man.
Yeah.
I want that sweater.
That is so true.
I want that sweater, that Thomas Sowell Matter sweater.
Yeah. I think that's so true. Well, that's what we have started. That's what I have started doing. Even in this local election, I took my time and went and researched these people who I wanted to vote for locally, down to the superintendent for Los Angeles County or whoever else they had. I went and looked up what the policies were. I went and did the research and decided on who I was going to vote for based off of what I want to see in the schools versus what the typical thing is that everybody is always saying we need to tackle.
Yeah.
So, but we won't do I'm going to be honest, up until, before Trump, I don't even think I really researched a whole lot when Obama ran. I was just so glad to see a black man being.
That was it.
Yeah, it was just like, let's go.
And what you don't know is all them other ones you voted for will be the ones that truly be the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love listening to him, and I don't know, so many things have changed in the last couple months. So,
but it is so smart, and that is so true. Instead of sitting here and just voting for someone that you don't even know, but yet you're just going to go along with it because everybody else might be, or you're just going to pick this name because this is the only person that's running. Whatever the case is, do the homework for yourself, because then you have no reason to complain when this person gets in office about anything, because you did your homework, and this is the person that you chose to vote for based off of whatever those things are you were looking for.
That's right.
That's the smart thing to do.
That's the smart thing to do. All right, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't take a nosedive, but comment in the section below if you want some more.
And see you guys in the next video. Love you guys. See you soon. Don't forget to go to Buy Me a Coffee. We just dropped some content over there. Check us out. Let us know what you're thinking. We can dive deep into topics over there as well.
That's right.